Well, first of all, I think this is all just um, negotiation in the media is really what I think it is. I mean, you're going to see threats back and forth, and as I think China and the United States both agree, no one really wins a trade war. The United States is just looking for some behavior change and a win, frankly, for the administration. So I think you're going to continue to see this posturing. The amount of tariffs that have been implemented so far are not huge. Will they be ratcheted up? Of course, you start going to 100 billion and 200 billion. Now you're starting to get into some real dollars that could have significant impact. Now, how do you navigate this environment? Well, I think that the reason why the markets are not blowing up right now is that the market believes that this is really just essentially sort of a North Korea strategy, which is if you think about what happened in the United States and North Korea, there were lots of threats. And in the end, there was some sort of negotiation. Not sure exactly what came out of that, but there was some sort of dialogue that occurred. And so I think that you still have to look past what's happening from a trade standpoint and look at the overall fundamentals. Interest rates are still low, inflation is still low. So I think there's some merit in having equity assets in portfolio strategies right now.
Well, so Michael, this is Martin up in Beijing. So you're basically saying the markets are so calm. I mean, the price action is what it is, unusually calm, given the tariffs that are kicking in right now. Simply because this is the art of the deal all over again. Start with an extreme position, extreme numbers, extreme threats, and then when you finally get down to talking to each other at the negotiating table, both sides are a little bit saner, and you finally do reach a compromise.
That's my view of what's going to happen. Now, we'll have to see how this plays out, but I'm not surprised that the tariffs are already kicking in. I didn't think they were going to be taken off the table. I didn't think China was going to do anything meaningful. I was just in China and talking to the Chinese. They are a long game player, as you know. They're willing to sort of ride out some of these fluctuations. But I do think there is a sense of negotiation. I think if China actually steps up and concedes a little bit more, I think the administration would likely be welcoming that posture by China. So it's not to diminish the impact of these tariffs on the global economy. If you look at what monetary agencies are saying around the world, it's absolutely a negative. But at this point, it's just the opening rounds, and we'll have to see if it accelerates. Now, if we go down 100 billion, 150 billion, now we have to reassess. But right now, it's just the opening game.
But Michael, you just said you'd spent time in China recently. I mean, did you get any sense at all that we may get further concessions from China? Because the latest that we've heard has been pretty firm about, what, if the US does this, then we will retaliate.
Well, first of all, there's a limit to the type of folks I'm talking to in China. I'm not talking to high-level government officials, but I do get the sense that the Chinese are worried about this. I do talk to business and strategists, investment professionals. It's impacting their business. It's impacting China's perspective in terms of their overall economy and their willingness to invest capital in their economy. So I think they're concerned. Now, interestingly, when I was in Hong Kong, I was actually on CNBC. And it was said to me that it's interesting how strategists in the United States say the United States has the upper hand. Strategists in Asia say China has the upper hand. So we'll see how this plays out. But I just don't think right now the Chinese are willing to blink at this point. It's just, I think, too early in the negotiation. And I think that's why the tariffs are happening today.
Hey everybody, it's Hadley Gamble from our new CNBC Middle East Bureau in Abu Dhabi. Thanks for stopping by. Now to watch more, you can try one of the videos that just popped up on your screen. And don't forget to subscribe.